This is the Heart of the Matter with Dr. Carol. For such a time as this, a heart to serve. Getting to the heart of the matter, a glimpse of my own homegoing. When a heart attack shows you how much you're loved. Hello, and welcome once again to the Heart of the Matter. This is Getting to the Heart of the Matter. I'm Dr. Carol, and thank you for allowing me once again to spend a little time with you today. If you've listened to the previous episode, The Hidden Cost of Survival, you'll know that I shared some of the realities of recovering from a heart attack, the things that often remain unseen. It wasn't an episode about complaining, nor was it intended to diminish the incredible privilege of surviving. Rather, it was about acknowledging an important truth that sometimes we can be so busy celebrating survival that we overlook the quiet struggles that accompany it. Because if we're ever going to get to the heart of the matter, we have to be willing to tell the whole story, not just the comfortable parts. So today's episode is different, very different, because while the last episode focused on the hidden cost of survival, today's episode is about one of survival's greatest gifts. My heart attack gave me something one would expect, but not in the way it did. It gave me not just a glimpse of my own mortality, but a firm look. Now, before you switch this off because you think, oh my God, today is going to be rather gloomy, please stay with me. Because strangely enough, this isn't really an episode about dying. It's an episode about living. May I ask you a question? When was the last time you thought about your own mortality? Not in a fearful way, not in a morbid way, just honestly. How comfortable are you talking about sickness, about aging, about death? If you're anything like most people, probably not very. We spend much of our lives planning holidays, birthdays, careers, weddings, retirements. But very few of us spend any time reflecting on the fact that one day our earthly journey will come to an end. Perhaps that's understandable. Perhaps it's even human nature. But in January 2018, at the age of just 48, I didn't have the luxury of avoiding that conversation. My heart had other ideas. Although I survived, and for that I will remain eternally grateful, something profound happened during my recovery. For the first time in my life, I found myself wondering, what if I hadn't made it? Not from a place of fear, but from a place of curiosity. What would life have looked like for the people I love? What memories would they have held on to? Would I have fulfilled the purpose God placed me here to fulfill? Have I loved enough? Encouraged enough, served enough? Had I made a meaningful difference? Those are searching questions, questions we often postpone. Yet sometimes the questions we postpone are the very ones that help us live most intentionally. Ironically, it took a damaged heart to teach me what truly lies at the heart of life. And then something happened that I never expected. I discovered something that even now feels rather humbling to say aloud. I discovered that I mattered. I know that probably sounds like a strange thing to say. After all, don't we all know that we matter? Perhaps in our heads we do. But knowing something intellectually and experiencing it deeply are two very different things. My heart attack didn't suddenly make people love me. The love had always been there. What it did was reveal it. It allowed me to see, perhaps for the first time, just how many people had quietly been carrying me in their hearts all along. So let me tell you what happened. As I began recovering from my heart attack, something extraordinary unfolded. One by one, people began showing up, not because they had to, not because anyone asked them to, simply because they cared. I'll never forget one particular day. There was a knock at the door. Standing there was a carload of sisters who had travelled all the way from Birmingham. Think about that for a moment. They'd given up their day, driven all that distance, not to solve a problem, not because they had the perfect words to say. They simply wanted to be with me. Looking back, I've realized that one of the greatest expressions of love isn't always found in what people say. It's found in the fact that they simply showed up. Presence. Presence is one of the greatest gifts we can give another human being. Then another dear sister travelled from Yorkshire, Sheffield, making the journey simply to spend time with me. We sat together, we talked, we shared lunch. There was nothing dramatic about the afternoon, and yet it became unforgettable because she gave me something we can never replace: her time. You know, sometimes we underestimate the value of our presence. We think we have to fix everything. We think we need the perfect words, the perfect scripture, the perfect advice. But often, people don't need our solutions. They need our presence. Sometimes love doesn't arrive carrying answers. Sometimes love simply arrives. Then there was another dear friend. Whenever I had to be alone at home, she would come and quietly sit with me. Again, nothing spectacular, just companionship, making sure I wasn't alone. It was such a simple act, but simple acts often leave the deepest impressions. And then there was one precious individual whose kindness still humbles me whenever I think about it. She cooked my meals. She washed my clothes. She folded them beautifully. She simply looked after me. Now, if you know me, you'll know that receiving that kind of care wasn't easy. I spent most of my time looking after other people, as a daughter, as a sister, as a nurse, as a doctor, as a church leader. I've usually been the one asking, how can I help? Suddenly, I was the one needing help. And that felt unfamiliar, perhaps even uncomfortable. But looking back now, I realize it was teaching me something. There is grace not only in giving, there is grace in receiving. Sometimes allowing someone to care for us is itself a gift. Then my thoughts turned to my family. My sibling traveled to Leicester as quickly as she could. My niece came too. At the time, I don't think I fully appreciated what they were carrying. I was lying in the hospital bed. They were standing there beside it. I was living through the illness, but they were living through the possibility of losing someone they loved. It must have been frightening. We often think illness only affects the person who is unwell, but serious illness has ripple effects. It reaches waiting rooms, dining rooms, telephone conversations, children. My poor children. Those boys. They suffered during that time. It was hard. But yes, it reaches children, siblings, friends, entire families. One person's illness becomes many people's care, even burden. As if traveling to be with me wasn't enough, something happened afterwards that moved me more deeply than I can adequately describe. My sister and my niece chose to have matching tattoos. Now, if you know me, you'll know that I'm not really a fan of tattoos. So this isn't about the tattoo itself. It's about what it represents. They each chose a simple design, a heart with an ECG tracing running through it. It was their way of remembering what we'd all been through together. Their way of honoring my journey. Their way of saying, we almost lost you, and we'll never forget how precious your life is to us. Whenever I think about that, I'm humbled. Not because of the tattoo, but because of the love behind it. Sometimes love isn't spoken. Sometimes it's permanently written into someone's story. And then there was something that happened that has stayed with me ever since. One of my medical colleagues, a fellow doctor who came to visit me on the ward the day after my heart attack, spent a short time with me initially. Then she unexpectedly left. I didn't really think anything of it because there were others also visiting me at the time. Later, the nurses joked they would put a sign with an arrow pointing in the direction of my bed saying, "Carol, this way." So my colleague returned a little later and spent more time with me. It wasn't until years later that she told me what had happened. She said, seeing me lying there, seeing how low my blood pressure was, had overwhelmed her. She needed to step outside to compose herself. Because in her own mind, she genuinely wasn't sure that I was going to survive. Imagine hearing that from another doctor. Someone who understood exactly what those numbers meant. That conversation stayed with me. Because until then, I hadn't fully realized how frightening those moments had been, not only for me, but for the people who loved me. Maybe even more so for my loved ones. And then there was one conversation that I don't think I'll ever forget. My dear friend later said something that completely took my breath away. She told me that hearing had had a heart attack affected her more than if it had been her own biological sister. When she saw my boys, she simply held them. No speeches, no explanations, just love. There are moments in life when words become too small That was one of those moments. And to my beloved Bethel Numa Tabernacle Church family, thank you for the unforgettable welcome you gave me when I returned home from hospital. The beautiful celebration, the heartfelt words of encouragement, the inspirational songs and the songs of thanksgiving to God remain among my most treasured memories. You didn't simply celebrate my recovery. You helped me celebrate God's faithfulness. I felt deeply loved, wonderfully supported, and truly at home. As I look back now, I realize something that has changed the way I think about life. My heart attack didn't create this love. It revealed it. These people hadn't suddenly started loving me because I'd become ill. They'd always loved me. I just hadn't fully seen it. Sometimes crisis reveals what comfort quietly conceals. And perhaps that's one of life's greatest gifts. Not the crisis itself, but what it uncovers. I discovered something that still feels deeply humbling to say aloud, not because I'm uncomfortable with gratitude, but because I've never wanted to overestimate my importance. Yet, honesty requires me to say it. I discovered that my life mattered. Not because of my titles, not because I'm a doctor, not because I'm a leader in the church, not because of what I've done, not because of anything I had achieved. Simply because I was me. And perhaps that's one of the greatest lessons the heart attack ever taught me. There's a profound difference between being needed and being loved. For much of my life, I had been needed. People needed the doctor, the Sunday school teacher, the mother, the wife, the organizer, the problem solver. But illness stripped all of that away for a while. I couldn't keep serving in the way I had before. I couldn't keep producing. I couldn't keep giving. And yet, people still came. Not because of what I could do for them, but because of who I was. That realization has stayed. So today I ask the question, how do I ensure that I am as effective as I can be? I think the answer is stewardship. Steward the life I've been given. Steward the life you've been given. Not because you're trying to earn love, but because you've already received it. You've been given a gift, a responsibility, something to manage, something your life to steward. That's a profound difference. Before we close, there's one more thing I'd really like to say. If you're one of the many people who prayed for me, visited me in hospital or at home, sent a message, made a phone call, prepared a meal, sat quietly with me, cared for my family, or simply held me in your thoughts during my recovery, thank you. Your kindness became part of my healing story, and I will always be grateful. To my family, friends, colleagues, and everyone who walked this journey with me, who I didn't single out, and I may never be able to do so. Thank you for reminding me in so many different ways that I was never alone. I may never be able to thank each of you personally, but please know that I carry your kindness with me every day. May God richly bless every one of you. So before I say goodbye for this episode, I'd love to leave you with one final invitation. Next time, we'll be recording the 7th and final episode of Series 1 of The Heart of the Matter. And for this very special occasion, we'll be leaving the studio and heading to my iconic red bench in the beautiful city of Leicester. I'll be joined by some of the people who have walked this journey with me. Together, we will celebrate God's faithfulness, the gift of life, the power of friendship, and the extraordinary grace that carries us through life's greatest challenges. There will be conversation, reflection, laughter, music, and above all, gratitude. I would be most honored if you would join us as we celebrate the close of this first chapter together. And of course, this isn't the end. It's a new beginning. In Series 2, the Red Bench will become a place of hope and conversation as I welcome remarkable guests from various walks of life, people whose hearts are devoted to serving others. Together, we'll explore their stories, discover what inspires them, and continue our journey of the heart of the matter. Until then, may you know how deeply you are loved. May you never underestimate the difference your life is making. And may you continue to live each day with purpose, gratitude, and hope. I'll see you on the Red Bench. Thank you for listening to The Heart of the Matter with Dr. Carol. Remember, your voice matters and your story has purpose for such a time as this.